Good evening, everyone. Who's with us?
Good evening, Rolf. Good evening.
Hello, Louis. Hello, Marky. Who's with us? Ivan, Anthony. Hello, Shmuli. I see that. Who else with us? Lionel with us. Good. Gabriel with us. Baruch Hashem. Everyone with us. Good. So nice to see you all.
Hi, Rav.
Hello, Dr. Les. How are you? Give us the good news.
Oh, good. Okay, so the good news, can you believe it? This budget did pass, which means that which is the first time in 3 years. That means that there's not going to be elections in the near future. But the amazing news is that they said now that Pfizer have developed a drug that even if you're sick, it's going to help you if you're sick. So that is actually very positive. And what I mentioned before, that Israel company, that they're doing a pill. So they're really working on it, an Israeli company. Instead of having the vaccine, maybe we'll be able to take pills in the future, which is incredible.
Sure.
So that's going to help a lot. And then the last thing, Rav, and I'll tell you, this is amazing. I don't think people are aware, but we have, where I work, there's one of the people that helped clean the clinic is from Ethiopia. And a week ago, he told me, do you know there's a civil war going on in Ethiopia? I knew about in Tigray province. So he said, it's so bad, and you don't see it on the news, but Addis Ababa might be, in a few days, they might actually invade Addis Ababa. But that you don't get on the news. That's amazing. Anything in Israel's world headlines, but what happens in Ethiopia, a country with millions of people, doesn't make the news. Isn't it incredible?
It is incredible because my son coming on Thursday from Eretz Israel, he's coming for a wedding, and he booked for Ethiopia.
Well, he must be careful. They've just evacuated the Israeli families of
He phoned me last week, and we done. I have connection in Israel for Misrad Apnim and Misrad Hutz. I told them who to phone, and they told them definitely not to fly Air Ethiopia. Yeah. So he's flying via Germany. Not that Germany any better because but he's gonna be there for such a short time that he hardly even have time to. The connection flight going to be so short, so he hardly going to be in Germany. He's going to land and immediately going to go straight, walk until he catch his stuff. He's going to be in a flight. So yes, I know about it. And Israel my son sent me actually on Thursday night a message, and I sent it to few people that making Aliyah on Tuesday. This coming Tuesday, and they're not sure if they're flying. They're a bit suspicious about going to Eretz Israel with Air Ethiopia because Addis Ababa is underneath the capital, underneath a lot of threat, like you're saying. Yes,
they evacuated the Israeli diplomats' families.
Yes,
so
the family
quite a serious thing.
And the European and the American. Yes, you're right. You're 100% right. Yes, it's true. Well,
I don't know why they don't go Turkish Air. Because Turkish Air goes down to Israel.
I have no idea, but let's don't give our enemy any money. Turkish.
Yeah, that's for sure.
This is Amalek number one.
It's true. Anyway, Chodesh
Tov to everyone. We're going to start the show. I'm going to mute everyone with your permission. Everyone is going to be muted. Yeah, everyone is muted. So good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Les, once again, for all the beautiful news that you keep us updated regarding Eretz Israel. So as I sent the message and as we published, the subject of the shiur today is going to be the merit of the mitzvah of Tzitzit, the virtue of Tzitzit. And let's see what we know regarding this mitzvah. So before we start, we always delegate the shiurim, usually to certain people that some of them not with us anymore. Esther Kaden Bat Ketzia, Mordechai Ben Rahma, that's our friend Moti, Harav Avraham Haim Ben Eliezer Yaakov, Rabbi Tenza, Tamar Bat Zehava, Rahed Malka Sultana, Yaakov Salomon Ben Farha, Vedvora Ruth, Bat Beila V'Chaim Eliyahu Ben Yeshayahu. Please God that the Divrei Torah will uplift their soul to the right place in heaven. Also, we would like to dedicate the shiur in honor of those that sick לאורה בת מרים, מנשה נג'י בן פרחה, אורנה בלומה בת מרים, הרב אברהם בן מרינה, הרב שלמה יהודה בן דליה, הרב משה בן דבורה, איתן בן הדסה, ישראל בן זיסה, מרדכי דוד בן לאה, יוסף בן אסתר, דבורה בת אסתר, שרה דבורה בת אלקה, צדוק בן שרה, שולמית בת חיה שיין עליה, אריה בן גיטל, שרה רבקה בת יהודית. Just good news, Shulamit bat Haya Shein Alea just got a message virtually 5 minutes ago that she'd been released home. Remember, she was in ICU, but Baruch Hashem, she released home. She's still not 100%. To all of you that saying Tehillim, please keep saying Tehillim for her. We saw major progress, Baruch Hashem, in her health. Baruch Hashem. So, Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach, ve'Hashem alenu berachamav yarviach. The virtue of the mitzvah of Tzitzit. What is so important, we'll learn today about Tzitzit, Talit Katan, small Tzitzit. First of all, we start with the source. Where do we learn that we're obligated to wear a Tzitzit? So the Torah tells us in Sefer Bamidbar, in Parashat Beshalach, in chapter 15, verse 37 to verse 40. The Torah commands us about the mitzvah of Tzitzit. And all of us saying it in the Shahrit, and we say it in Mariv, that verse. And it said like this, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Israel, va'amarta alehem, va'asu lahem tzitzit, al kanfei bigdehem ledorotam, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות השם, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. This is the verse that we're learning, that we obligated about the mitzvah of Tzitzit. What is so special about this mitzvah? So Hazal explained that this is one of the mitzvot that we have from the Torah, that the obligation of putting a tzitzit, Hazal given us few reasons why. Because the mitzvah himself of tzitzit help us to understand and to remember and to do other mitzvot. How do we learn that? So Hazal say, it said there, ureitem otam, ureitem oto. By that you look at the tzitzit, uschartem et kol mitzvot Hashem. By that you look at the tzitzit, you remember all the mitzvot of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, va'asitem otam. And that will lead you to do all the mitzvot. So from here we see that Hazal telling us that the mitzvah of tzitzit, it's helping us, number one, is by that we see it, it's helping us to remember all the mitzvot that there is in the Torah. Not only that, Hazal tell us by that you remember them, that will help you also to do them. Because if people doesn't remember, they don't do. When do they do? Only when they remember. So the mitzvah of tzitzit have all of these three things. Number one, ureitem, oto, and then uschartem, that zechartem, it means to remember, va'asitem. Va'asitem, it means that you will do the mitzvot of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the mitzvah of tzitzit is to help us to remember all the mitzvot of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to do them. So now we understand what's so special about the mitzvah of tzitzit, but we have to understand also the merit of a person that keep the mitzvah of tzitzit. So the Gemara in Masechet Menachot, speak a lot about it in page 40. And now I'm bringing page 43, folio 2. And Hazal said it like this: Kol hazariz b'mitzvat tzitzit zoche umekabel pnei shechina. The same thing Hazal said in the Gemara in Masechet Yerushalmi in Masechet Brachot. The Gemara in Yerushalmi in Masechet Brachot. What does it mean? Kol zariz. Zariz is usually a person that's very quick, but zariz in the Torah is not quick. Zariz in the Torah is a person that carefully, very careful with the mitzvah of tzitzit. He merits to receive the divine of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Pnei Shechina. He merits to receive the Shechina when a person wears a tzitzit. If you're careful in a mitzvah of tzitzit, listen to that. Mekabel Pnei Shechina. We don't understand what's that. We'll see during the show. I will go in depth to all of it. I'll bring this up. The Midrash Yalkut Reuveni in Parashat Beshalach, again, where he speak about the mitzvah of tzitzit, he said when a person wraps himself with the tzitzit, okay, now he's speaking about the Talit Gadol, the big tzitzit, okay, the angel in heaven, listen to that, they declaring in heaven, Havu Yakar leben HaMelech. This is the precious, the son of the king. Havu Yakar. That means everything is available to the son of the king. And the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat in page 32, folio 2, listen what it says. Kol HaZahir. Hazal, very careful what they say. Kol HaZahir. What it means, a person that very careful to wear tzitzit, b'mitzvah tzitzit, listen what it says. Zocher u'meshamshim lo 2,800 avadim. A person that wears a tzitzit and is very careful with this mitzvah, is very delicate on that mitzvah, he will have 2,800 servants. When? When the Mashiach comes. Hazal explained. The word tzitzit, let's do gematria now. Tzadik yud taf. Tzadik is 90, yud is 10, together is 100. Again, tzadik yud, it's again 100, together 200. Taf of tzitzit, 400. Together we get gematria of 400. Plus the 8 string that we have, because we have 8 string, okay, on the tzitzit, plus the 5 knot that we do, together is 613. That means to tell us that the mitzvah tzitzit equivalent to all the 613 mitzvot that we have in the Torah. Not only that, the Lebush, Rabbi Mordechai Yaffe, he born in the city of Prague in the Czech Republic. He born 491 years ago. Listen what he said. The Baal Lebush, Rabbi Mordechai Yaffe, he said like this. Shkula mitzvah tzitzit kekol haTorah. That means that from here, what we brought, the gematria of tzitzit, that the mitzvah of tzitzit is equivalent to all the 613 mitzvot that we have in the Torah. The Gemara in Masechet Menachot in page 43, folio 1 now. Listen what it says. Kol sheyesh lo tzitzit, a person that wears tzitzit, behizuk shelo yechta. What it means, behizuk shelo yechta? That means that not easily a person that wears tzitzit, that he will sin. And we'll see just now why, because Hazal in the Gemara in Masechet Menachot in page 44, okay, folio 1, we brought the story not long ago, tell us that the merit of tzitzit, the merit of the mitzvah of tzitzit, guarding a person from sinning. And there the Gemara tell us the story, you remember I brought it the other night, that it was a man that it's a young man that he hear that there is a harlot of the seas and she demand a lot of money for her services. And he sell to her. And just before he sinned, the string of the tzitzit hit him on the face. And when it hit him on the face, that suddenly he realized, what am I doing? And the tzitzit helped him, the mitzvah of tzitzit helped him to overcome the evil inclination that wanted him to sin. So from here we see that although that sometimes the Yetzer Hara entice us to do averot, in the power of Tzitzit, if you look at the Tzitziyot, it can help you to overcome. Rabbi Moshe Al-Sheikh, born in a city of Andripoli in Turkey 514 years ago, Al-Sheikh HaKadosh. And he said that the Tzitzit, okay, when you look at the string of the Tzitzit, it's influencing and bringing down to earth, listen, a special spirit that help us, that come from the Holy Spirit to overcome the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, okay? And not only that, that's what help us to overcome the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. The Hafetz Chaim, now I'm bringing the Hafetz Chaim, Rabbi Israel Meir HaKohen Miradim. He born 182 years ago in Belarus, in a city of Radin in Belarus. And in his book, Shmirat HaLashon, that you all know about it, in volume 2, chapter 3, listen what he said. He said, when a person see that the evil inclination, or starting to overcome him, or that he get cross and angry, he said there is a remedy. Listen to that. He said it's good to look at the string of the tzitzit, and that will help, okay, to get rid of the evil inclination. So sometimes people get cross and angry. There's a remedy. Look at the tzitzit. Just look at the tzitzit. That will help to calm you down, number one. Number two, it will help you to overcome the evil inclination that entice you to do averot. Because Chazal say, Kol HaKoes, Kilo Oved Avodah Zarah. Chazal, in the Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah, tell us, a person that get cross and angry, it's considered like he worshiping idols. So against all of those Yetzer Hara that there is in the world, mitzvah tzitzit. The Zohar HaKadosh, the Holy Zohar, tell us something important, that a person that wear everyday tzitzit katan, a small tzitzit under his shirt, under his garment, listen what he said, Mesaleket mimeno ayin hara shel sitra ahra. What does it mean? That in the power of the tzitzit, the evil eye of the bad energy, get rid of him. That means that the tzitzit is also against ayin hara, the evil eye. Marana Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo, born in the city of Toledo in Spain 533 years ago. And listen what he said. He says like this, that when a person, he said in the name of the ancient rabbi, B'Shem HaKadmonim, and he said like this, כל המעביר ציציות על עיניו כאשר קורא את פרשת ציצית, יהיה מובטח לו שלא יבוא לידי סימוי עיניים. I will translate. Say the Marana Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo, that wrote the Shulchan Aruch. When a person say the portion of tzitzit, as we mentioned earlier, and it said there, וראיתם אותו. When it said, וידבר השם אל משה לאמור, when it's come to ראיתם אותו, will take the string and he put them over his eyes and he will kiss them. And then when it came, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, when it's come to עיניכם, to kiss him again and to put them over his eyes, that it's a remedy and a protection that that person will never become blind. Look at the virtue of tzitzit. Rabbi Yitzhak Abuav, born in the 15th century, not a lot known about him, but he wrote a famous book that's called Menorat Hamaor. And in his book, he brings in the name of the Midrash, he said that the main reason that Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah been saved from the fire, okay, you know why? Because the mitzvah of Tzitzit. In a merit of Tzitzit, that's what saved them from the furnace. There is a newsletter, like our friend Lionel Stein publish every Friday a beautiful newsletter. There is a newsletter in Israel that's called Ma'ayan HaShavua. That's the name of it. The Well of the Week, that's the English name for it. And it was a story there that I read, beautiful story, and I would like to share it with you. It's a story about a Jewish person that lived in Iran close to 40 years ago. When he was young, he'd been taken to the Iranian army because it was a war, I don't know if you remember, 30 years ago, even more, 35 years ago, a war that was full of blood, full of bloodshed between Iran and Iraq. And he took on himself all the time to wear a tzitzit. No matter what, he will wear a tzitzit. And he said that one time his platoon got an order to do an ambush for the Iraqi army. When they gone to that ambush, he said that the entire platoon of his got killed. He's the only one that came alive. He'd been sentenced to a court-martial. Listen to that. And when he stood in the front of the judge, the court-martial, the army court-martial, the Iranian judge said to him, listen, you are guilty of spying for the Iraqi army because you're the only one of that platoon that survived it. And this is the charge against you. The poor guy didn't have a lot. He couldn't say anything. He stood in the front of the judge. And at the last minute, he said to him, listen, judge, I am Jewish. You know that I'm Jewish. We have one mitzvah and I kept it all my life. One of our mitzvah is to wear a tzitzit. And our sages tell us if you wear a tzitzit, it can guard you from any danger. He lifted up his shirt and he showed the judges his tzitzit. The judges was so taken by that they believe him and they release him. And then he made Aliyah, obviously, to Eretz Israel, and he told the story. But I want to tell you another story. This story I heard from the person that happened to him. And you all know him, most of you know him. Simon Maruti, you know Simon Maruti, our friend. Simon Maruti heard this shiur I given 5-6 years ago. Not in full, I given part of it, only 20 minutes of it. And Simon Maruti took in so much by it, and he decided that he will put tzitzit. He took on himself to put tzitzit. And he didn't say nothing to me. One day he needed to go to his village, and the next thing, he been stuck on a road that they put stone and wood, and he couldn't drive anymore. And before he had a chance to look left or right, he saw many of the African people standing in the front of him with stone and with spears. And a person came to him and he said, open the window. He opened the window. In their own language, he said to Simon, Simon, make a U-turn. He didn't call him Simon. He said to him, make a U-turn and drive as fast as you can away from here. Simon told me that story, and I'm telling you word by word. I'm trying to be very careful. He said that he doesn't understand what's happened. All he saw these guys coming out of nowhere, and this guy approached him and said to him, make a U-turn immediately and drive back. And Simon then came to me and said to me like this, Rabbi David, remember you spoke to me about tzitzit? I said, yeah, I spoke about the show about tzitzit, I remember. He said, I took on myself, and that's what saved my life. That's a story from Simon Maruti. If anyone want to confirm it, he's more than welcome to speak to our friend Simon Maruti. So those regarding the protection that a person can get when he wears a tzitzit. Now, I'm going to move now to different question and answer that I'm going to ask and answer myself. We know that the mitzvah of tzitzit is only for a male and not for a woman. Why? So according to the pshat of the dvarim, the pshat, only the pshat, Chazal tell us, mitzvah shehazman gerama nashim pturot. That means that there is any mitzvah that it's time bounded into it, women not obligated to do it. So therefore, mitzvah tzitzit, the mitzvah of tzitzit, it's a time bound. Mitzvah tzitzit bayom shene'emar ve'ureitem, to see. So it had to be during the day. In that case, it's mitzvah that there is time bounded to it, women not obligated. That's on a pshat of the dvarim. On a depth. Ha'ari HaKadosh, Rabbi Yitzhak Luria Ashkenazi, he born in Jerusalem 487 years ago, and he bringing a name of the Zohar. That the main reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu given us the mitzvah of tzitzit, it's to do tikkun lechet Adam HaRishon, to do a rectification for the sin of Adam HaRishon, Adam. And he explained like this. He said when Adam HaRishon sinned, he released a lot of spark all over the world. By that he released a lot of sparks all over the world, the mitzvah of tzitzit, it's to collect those sparks and help us to do rectification for all of those sins. While the sin of Hava wasn't so bad. And if you look, women, there's many mitzvot that they're not obligated like a man. Say Ari HaKadosh in the name of the Zohar, from here you learn something very important. Because the mitzvah of tzitzit, it's helping us to rectify many of the averot that happen because the sin of Adam HaRishon. That means that the tzitzit come to help the male to rectify all the sin that been done in a sin of Eitz Hadat, Adam HaRishon. Okay. Come, Ari HaKadosh. It's actually the Maharhu. And it's in Sha'ar HaGilgulim. Listen to that. In Sha'ar HaGilgulim is the chapter that speak about reincarnation. And he says like this, if you look, woman not obligated for many mitzvot like a man. A woman, if she keep normal mitzvot, okay, simple mitzvot, she doesn't see Gehenna, she doesn't see hell, Gehenna. Most of the women, he say, doesn't see Gehenna. Not only that, he said that for very few women, that even if they're not so religious, as long as they keep the mitzvot, they hardly see Gehenna. Can you believe it? While male have to work very hard to collect all the sparks from his sin. That means that for a woman, it's much easier. There is a much easier sentence than a male. And therefore, that's why a male obligated for so many mitzvot that been spoiled in a sin of Adam HaRishon, unfortunately. That because the sin of Adam HaRishon, eating from the tree of knowledge, and after that, not only by eating from the tree of the knowledge, after that, because Adam HaRishon was in Nahal Gishon for 130 years, and Hazal explained that that's where he lost a lot of sparks, and that's our job, to rectify all what got spoiled from the sin of Adam HaRishon. There's more depth into it, but it's not the time for it now. Maybe one day we'll do a show about it. Now I'm going to go to different shaila that many people ask me also. Rabbi, when you wear a tzitzit, should you wear the tzitzit outside your garment or inside your garment? Where is the tzitzit should be, outside? You can see it or not. So there is two different opinions on it. I'm going to start with the opinion of the Sfaradim, not because I'm a Sfaradi, because I want to explain it in depth, and then you'll understand the other opinion of the Ashkenazi. The Sfaradim opinion is that your tzitzit should be inside. And the Mahar Rabbi Chaim Vital, that born in the city of Tzfat 479 years ago, he bring in the name of his Rabbi, B'Sha'ar HaKavanot, in a chapter, B'Sha'ar HaKavanot, it's the way that you have a kavana when you're davening. And he said that he witnessed that his Rabbi, Ari HaKadosh, Rabbi Yitzhak Luria Ashkenazi, that his custom was that when he was davening, that his tzitzit was all the time inside his garment, never was outside. Therefore, that's how Pasken, the Rashash, after that Pasken, the Rabbi Yosef Haim, Baghdad, the Ben Ish Hai, that born 186 years ago, the Arav Ovadia Yosef, Zecher Tzadik, the Kadosh Lebracha, he wrote it in a book, Yahveh Da'at. He also bring that we should wear the tzitzit inside. Why is it? Why is it so important? So it's, to explain that, I need to go a bit in depth. And if you don't understand, please put a thumb or a finger and I will explain it. I try to explain it as simple as I can. It's bringing there that the main reason that the mitzvah of tzitzit, when a person wearing it, he bring a lot of abundance to himself. A person that wear a tzitzit bring a lot of abundance to himself. The power of the mitzvah of tzitzit, it's a lot of prosperity, abundance. Mamash abundance of prosperity. He said, by that you're wearing it outside, you actually given the negative or the bad energy, let's call them, okay? The bad energy, let's call them. You've given them a chance to cleanse into that abundance and to absorb and to suck from that abundance. Because we don't want the evil spirit to have any abundance, we don't want them to cleanse into that abundance. Why? Because if they get benefit from that energy, we losing. So what do? We hide it from them and they can't see it. Therefore, said the Mekubalim, it's better to wear the tzitzit inside, that the negative forces doesn't see it. And they don't have a cleanse for it, and they cannot touch the abundance that came down from heaven to that person that wear a tzitzit. Look how depth is that. The Ashkenazim, their opinion is differently, and they're going according to the Pshat. The Pshat say, "Ureitem oto uschartem va'asitem." They say by that the tzitzit is outside, I will see it, I will remember, and I will keep the mitzvot. That's according to the Pshat. And that's how the Rashi HaKadosh bring Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki, that born in the city of Troyes in the north of France 981 years ago. And that's how the Ashkenazim pasken, and that's brought in a Mishnah Berurah. What kind of a clothes obligated for a tzitzit? That's a question that many people ask. So it has to be from Tzemer and Pishtim, but today we don't do from Pishtim, we're doing only from Tzemer. Pishtam, we don't use it all. That means it has to be from linen and wool, okay? But today we don't use linen, only wool. Okay, now what does it mean? That any garment that have 4 corners, very important, 4 corners, okay, and there is a hole in the middle to fit it over the body, and it have 4 square corners or triangles, depends how you look at it, obligated to put a tzitzit. That's kind of clothes that obligated for tzitzit. Now I'm going to move and try to answer the next question. What size the tzitzit have to be? And listen to that, it's very important. The size of the tzitzit, say the Marana Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo. And Rabbi Yosef Karo wrote in Shulchan Aruch in Siman Kav Zayin, Tet Zayin. Tet Zayin is 16, and he said like this. Let me look at it here. שיעור ציצית צריך שיהיה באורך וברוחב ראשו ורובו של קטן, המהלך לבד בשוק ואין צריך אחר לשומרו. What does it mean? Say the Marana Bet Yosef in Shulchan Aruch that the size of the tzitzit had to be the length, okay, and the width of a head and most of the body of a young child, katan, it means that not obligated from mitzvot, less the age of 13, that he himself can walk in the market with no guardians. That means that he doesn't need guardians. So what does it mean? Still, we have to understand what is the Shulchan Aruch tell us. The Mishnah Berurah explained like this, that it have to be in the size of Amma in the front and the size of Amma at the back, beside the hole of the tzitzit. So these 2 opinions, what is Amma? According to Rabbi Haim Nae, 48 centimeters, 48 centimeters. Rabbi Haim Nae was one of the main Chabad rabbi that influenced a lot of halakha in Eretz Israel, in Hebron. Okay? And according to him, that means, let's round it, that means the side of the tzitzit have to be, let's round it to a half a meter because it's only 2 centimeters. The size of the tzitzit have to be in the front and in the back. Okay, the length of it is a meter, half in the front, half in the back. That's without the hole of the tzitzit. That's according to Haim Nae. Okay, the Hazon Ish that we brought earlier, he said that Amma, the size of Amma, it's 57.6 centimeters. Let's round it to 60 centimeters. So he said that it have to be 60 on the front, 60 at the back. It's already 1.2, not include the head. And the width, obviously 60 centimeters. So we see from here, these 2 different opinions. The one opinion said that it have to be, actually, if we specific, it's 98 centimeters, that 48 in the front, 48 at the back, and the width 48. So we rounded a half a meter and a meter in the front and a half a meter in the back. That means half a meter and half a meter is a meter. According Rabbi Haim Nae. The Hazon Ish, if we become very accurate or we just round it, it's quicker, 60 centimeters in the front, the part on the back, 60 centimeters, the width is 60 centimeters, and that's not include the hole where you fit over the head. That's the size of the tzitzit. Let's continue. We all know that the Torah tells us petil techelet. What is petil techelet? Petil techelet. Many people ask regarding that, what is petil techelet? In the olden days, they used to use a snail that they used to open it, and they used to take from him the color that's called petil techelet. Okay? That kind of a snail can be found in a portion of Zvulun from the sea. In a portion of Zvulun, you can find that snails, and with that they used to find that snails, they used to paint the string. Okay, but today we don't know. Today we don't know what is it. And I saw that it's brought in the name of Rav Mordechai Eliyahu. הרב מרדכי אליהו, זכר צדיק וקדוש לברכה. Sorry. He bring in the name of the Zohar. the Zohar HaKadosh, and he says that the story of the Hilazon called Argamon Kehekotzim. That's the name of that snail. And he said that kind of a snail will never be found until the Mashiach comes. And when the Mashiach comes, he's going to reveal to us what kind of snail is it and when exactly we can find that kind of a snail. And then we can do Petil Techelet, then we can color the tzitziot, the string. Okay? So what we see today, that sometimes you see the blue color string that you see in the tzitziot, that's definitely not the color of the Hilazon that's called Petil Techelet. But I ask a shaila if there is any problem with that. Many of the poskim say that there is no problem with that. If they want to paint it with blue, let them paint it with blue. Those strings that come blue, there's no problem with that. But it's not the real color that's called Petil Techelet, and people mustn't mislead by it. How many knots there is on a tzitzit, on a string? And here there is 7 opinions, Rabotai. And this is not, there is also the Ravad that I didn't bring. I brought some of them. I brought only 7, there's many more. So there is the Kshirat Rambam, the knot of the Rambam, that he said that it has to be 7 or 13. That's according to Rambam. According to Kshirat Sfaradit, the Spanish one, okay, it's 5, 6, 5, 10. If you look at the Gematria 26, it's Gematria of Shem Havaya, the name of the holy name, Yud K Vav K. Okay, then there is Kshirat Ben Ishai. Kshirat Ben Ishai, the Kshira Ashkenazit is exactly the same. What does it mean? The knot of the Ben Ishai and the knot of the Ashkenaz is exactly the same. And what is it? 7, 8, 11, and 13. And that's the most common knot that everyone knows. Then there is another knot. It's called the Kshirat Ha'ari. It's the mystical rabbi. It's 7, 8, 11, and 13. The only difference here that every time that you do a knot, okay, that you do a circle around the ptilot, you do a knot. The only person that knows how to do it must do it. It's called Kshirat Ha'ari. Then there is the knot of Chabad. The knot of Chabad, it's very similar to the knot of the Ari. The only difference that they're adding up 39, okay? That means that they're doing 39. Why is it? Because they say that it's Gematria Hashem Echad. That means Yud Ke Vav Ke Echad. And that's 39, Gematria 39. What does it come to tell us? That we see that there's different notes. The most common notes, and I repeat and I say, it's the Kshira of Ben Ishai and Kshira Ashkenazit. That means it's the note of the Ashkenazim and the note of the Ben Ishai, that it's 7, 8, 11, and 13. That's the most common note that you do on a string. Another shaila that I've been asked a number of times, and many people ask it, what do you do with the old tzitzit? There's an old tzitzit that you don't wear anymore, or it's got tear, broken, whatever the situation. What do you do with the old tzitzit? So before we answer that, I want to bring and to explain a difference between Tashmish Kedusha and Tashmish Mitzvah. What does it mean? A tzitzit is Tashmish Mitzvah. Tefillin, mezuzot, and a book of Torah, Humashim, and etc., those Tashmish Kedusha. That means there is holiness. What is the difference? That any Tashmish Kedusha, you have to bury it. You have to put it to Geneza. Tzitzit, you don't have to. You don't have to. But because you use that it's Tashmish Kedusha to show respect, what do? You cut the string of that broken tzitzit and you put it to Shemus. The body, the material of the body, because it's Tashmish mitzvah, what do we do with that? We put it in plastic bag, in 2 plastic bags. We can wrap it nicely and respectable, and then we can throw it to the dustbin. So from here we see that because there is a big definition, a big, huge definition between Tashmish mitzvah and Tashmish kedusha. That means Tashmish kedusha, no matter what, you're obligated to put it to Geniza, to Shemus. You can't just come and throw it away. There's no way, you have to bury it. But Tashmish mitzvah, for example, like tefillin, that you're doing it only for mitzvah, doesn't need Geniza, doesn't need burial. Okay, when people do their own string, what is they have to do? Listen to that. When a person changed the ptilot, the string on his tzitzit, or that he bought a new tzitzit and he want to do his own string, before he start, he have to say Leshem mitzvah tzitzit. And after he ties, done the knot and he tied, he must not talk until he finish to do the tzitzit. That's something that many people not sure about it. The Kitzur Shulchan Aruch bring in also in the name of the Shulchan Aruch, say that before a person every morning, before he put the tzitzit on him, before he read the big tzitzit on him also, he must check the string of the tzitzit. What does that mean? It means that the person every morning must check its tzitzit, must check the string that they're not broken. That means that the tzitzit is not psula. To make sure that the tzitzit is not pasul. It's very, very important that every morning, before a person wear the tzitzit or before he wraps himself with the tzitzit, before he wraps himself, he have to make sure that he check the 4th string, the 4th side of each string. After that, now I'm coming, and with that I'm going to conclude. What is the brocha of tzitzit? So those that obviously after the bar mitzvah age and they're married, they're wearing the talit katan and they don't say brocha. When they wear the talit gadol, they say litatef betzitzit, and then they have to have in mind for the talit katan. So we say buan brocha. Those that over the bar mitzvah, but they're not married. And we know that there is certain opinion in Ashkenazi that a person that even if he over the age of 13, he can wear and wrap himself with a big talit. There's 2 different opinions. Some of them say no, some of them say it. So those that don't wear the big tzitzit, talit gadol or talit gdola, what we call it, tzitzit gdola. What does he say? When he wear the talit katan, when he wear the small tzitzit on top of his vest, you know what I'm saying? Some people, it's a different opinion on that. Do you have to have a vest, or you can put it on a body? There's different opinion on those halacha. But a person that put it on the body is nothing wrong. Even if there is certain people that put it on top of the shirt. That's the Hasidim. The Hasidim put it on a shirt. On top of the top shirt, they put a tzitzit. So those one that doesn't wear talit gadol, they say the brocha asher kedushan tzivanu lilbosh tzitzit. They said the brocha lilbosh tzitzit. One, because they don't wear talit gadol, and if they don't wear talit gadol, they don't sell it at a betzitzit, so they can't have in mind. So when you wear the talit katan, they have to tell Ilbosh Betzitzit because the custom is not, because they're not married and therefore they don't wrap themselves with Talit Gadol, and then they can't sell it at Betzitzit. Okay, so from here we see, Rabotai, that we see the virtue of mitzvah tzitzit, how much a person can be protected by it, what benefit he gets, the abundance and the prosperity that the person can get for mitzvah tzitzit. The Zohar HaKadosh brought by the Ari HaKadosh that when a person wears a tzitzit, listen to that, there's a special light that's surrounding him, and that's like they call it a very holy light that he received. And one of the things that people, when they wear tzitzit, when they daven, they don't understand because we don't have those mystical eyes, those holy eyes to see the light that's surrounding a person that wears a tzitzit. So from here we see the virtue, the merit of a person that wears tzitzit, and Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should all merit to fulfill the mitzvah of tzitzit properly, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will merit us to see Mashiach Tzidkenu and to see the third building of Bet HaMikdash in our days. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon. If there is any question regarding the mitzvah tzitzit, please unmute the microphone and I will try to answer some of the question if I can, Be'ezrat Hashem. B'chabod.
Hello, it's Anthony. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, Antonio, how are you?
Right, thanks. Keeping well.
Good. I'm
If
happy
you
to
go
hear
to
that.
if you go to a cemetery, you have to wear your tzitzit inside you. What is the reason that when you go to a cemetery, you have to wear your tzitzit inside you? You can't show your tzitzit out.
Okay. When you wear a tzitzit and you go to the cemetery, Mishum mevaze lamet. That means Mishum lo'eg lamet. What it means lo'eg lamet? That means a person, a deceased in the cemetery, they cannot do any mitzvot. And now suddenly you wear a tzitzit and you like basically have arrogancy. You're saying, look, I still fulfill the mitzvah of tzitzit and you're not. So Hazal constitute for us not to embarrass the deceased, not to show the tzitzit, not to embarrass the deceased that they can't do any mitzvah. That means when a person go to the cemetery and the string is outside, he's like embarrassing the deceased. Mishum lo'eg lamet. Okay?
Okay.
Basically, we're mocking the deceased. So not to do that, Hazal constitute for us. It's not only with mitzvah tzitzit, Mr. Antonio, it's any mitzvah we're not allowed to do because in the front of the deceased, in the front of the grave, because the deceased cannot do any more mitzvot. And you doing mitzvot, you're actually mocking him. You follow?
Yes. Thanks very much.
Any other question? Pleasure. It's my pleasure. Any other question, Rabotai? Chavod, I would love to hear some question.
Rabbi, how are you?
Baruch Hashem and you, Eitan. It's so nice to hear your voice.
Thank you.
How are you feeling, Eitan? Are you feeling well? Eitan
getting there. Getting there.
No, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem.
And thank you for the tefillot I heard in the beginning. Thank you for the tefillot. So the same question that Antonio had, it's the same thing with the kippot. And how can we wear kippot to the cemetery? That's the case.
Kippah, because kippah, it's not a mitzvah deoraita. Kippah that you wear, it's to show the respect. And we believe that we have the fear of heaven. That the mitzvah is just to show us the kippah that we wear. It's to show us that we have the fear of heaven. There is no mitzvah to wear a kippah. Nowhere it says that you have to wear a kippah. But Hazal constitute for us, when you wear a kippah, it will bring on you the fear of heaven. You follow? It's not mitzvah. You don't have to do. What you should ask, that if you look, that when people bury a deceased, the only thing that we say is Pirkei Tehillim, and we say Kaddish, and then we're asking from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's called Tfilah al Hamet. It's the prayer for the deceased that we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to have mercy on a deceased. If you look carefully, there's no mitzvah that we do with the deceased. The only thing that we cover the body. You understand what I'm saying? But mitzvah mamash, you hardly see that you do. What do? Do you follow?
Thank you. And then also, what is the difference between the Tzitzit Katan? You see people, the Sfaradim mainly wear, or the I'm trying to think what they call them. They use it from wool as opposed to the cotton.
Oh, very good question. Very good question. Chazal explained that the mitzvah tzitzit have to be from wool. The Sfaradim very strict about it. The Lithuanian very strict about it. Very, very strict about it. The Hasidim very strict about it, that it have to be a wool. Why dafka wool? Because the Torah tells us, but there is a mystical reason behind it. I'll answer you also for that. A wool that en ahiza, I'll say it in Hebrew and then I will translate it to English. En ahiza lahitzonim. That means that the evil spirit cannot have any benefit or any cleansing to that mitzvah. That means that the evil spirit cannot get any energy from that mitzvah. You follow? Beseder, Eitan?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. So it's a bidi eved with cotton, because I'm saying Ashkenazim a lot.
No, lechatchila it have to be cotton. Lechatchila. B'di'avad, it's polyester, or all the others that you see, those tzitziot that have a lot of holes on them that they can cool you down, that they're not made from semer. Semer is wool, because to wear wool in summer, it's very hot. But
so
the main reason for
cotton
it,
or wool? I'm confused.
From wool, sorry.
Okay.
Wool is cotton we don't use today. Sorry, cotton, my mistake. Cotton we don't use today. Only wool. To wear wool underneath your body is very, very hot. And the main reason for it, that there is no ahiza lahitzonim. Hitzonim is the negative energy. And that's, by the way, when we come to Yosef HaTzadik, that when Yosef HaTzadik, Paro, when he took him as his advisor, what is he dressed him? He dressed him with wool, and sometimes he dressed him with linen. Why? And that's what we put over the deceased. That it's protect the body from the evil spirit, from the bad energy. You follow? That's what's so special about wool.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other question, Rabotai, regarding the mitzvah of tzitzit? If I can answer question.
Good evening, Rav.
Oh, shalom aleichem. I missed you all over Shabbos, and I missed you today, this morning. Where you been?
Missed you too. No, I was at Levy, unfortunately. Rabbi, there's quite an interesting, this question of collecting the sparks and the helping us to rectify the sin of Adam Rishon. Now, again, what is the rectification for Chava, who induced him to make the sin? How does she how do we would think she doesn't have to wear tzitzis because it's a rectification. So, and I know women doing mitzvahs, you've explained it to us nicely, that by doing mitzvahs, that's the way, they don't see Gehenna. But the point is, it doesn't still answer the question why Chava doesn't have to wear them. It doesn't have to wear the tzitzis like a man does, like a woman,
So I don't know if you listen carefully, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
I say something very interesting, that after the sin of Adam HaRishon, after Adam HaRishon and Hava eaten from the tree of knowledge, for 130 years, and that's the major key, Adam HaRishon was sitting inside Nahal Gishon. Nahal is a spring. That's called Gishon.
Yes.
And his body turned, the water cut his flesh. I can't speak because I don't know if there is woman behind the line. I have to be very, very careful. When he was there for 130 years, he wastes sperm, okay? We have a waste of sperm.
Yeah.
And that's in a Kabbalistic term called nitzotzot, that a person have to bring them all back, because in every sperm there is neshamot. Neshamot is souls. So a person have to rectify all of that. How do we do rectification to all of those sin? By wearing mitzvah tzitzit.
Wow, that's interesting.
You follow? So it's not that eating
Now
from the
it's
tree of
clear.
knowledge. I didn't
Right.
want to mention that, but I said that he sat in Nahal Gishon for 150 years. So
it's
while he
real.
was sitting there, he wasted. And you want to know something else? I will explain. If you look, there is certain place in the world that there is place that people live. What do I mean? If you look at part of Australia, most of Australia, no one lived there.
Yeah.
There is no spark there. There is no spark of Adam HaRishon there. Wherever Adam HaRishon sat, there is spark, you'll see people living. That's the mystical Rabbi explained to us. Wherever you see people living, that's Adam HaRishon was. To go a bit deeper, the mystical Rabbi explained, wherever you see Jews in the world, okay, when the Jews in that place, when the Jews in that country, there is prosperity. When the Jews collected all of those sparks and they leave the country become desolated and desert. They become very poor and they don't have nothing there. Why? Because all of those sparks that Adam HaRishon spread all over the world, Jewish people collect them, they got rectified, and there's nothing left there. And there's nothing there. You follow?
Yes. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
I know it's a bit deep, but
Rav, when you discuss, we're discussing with us men, with adults. I mean, it's very important that you bring this up. It actually comes to mind something with Naomi's boys, her sons. It was a similar thing that took place, wasn't it?
Not Naomi. No. That's the son of Naomi and the children of Yehuda.
Yehuda. Yeah.
Aaron Onan. You remember that Aaron Onan didn't want to have children.
That's right.
And Hazal explained that they wasted on the floor.
Yeah.
And HaKadosh Baruch Hu got anger with him and he punished them with whatever he punished. And the same with the children of Naomi, you're right, it was my mistake. That's Machlon and Kilion, that when they took the Moabite, the two Moabites, Ruth, remember? Ruth and a sister, Orpah, that also didn't want to have children. And you know, so
that had to be rectified. Had to be rectified.
Yeah, so I have to be very, very careful when I speak about those debts.
Subjects.
I have to be careful and very delicate, because I don't know who's sitting and listening always. And not only that, it's heavy. It's heavy. It's scare people. It's something that scare. I'll tell you, when I studied first time, I was scared. But I tell you one thing that helped for all of it. And Rabbi Nachman Breslev revealed to us that there is 10 chapters that the person called, it's called Tikkun Klali. What it means, Tikkun Klali, the major rectification. It's a 10 chapters that the person say, and when he say it, he doing a rectification, and he collect all of those sparks.
Wow.
So if you want them, if anyone want, you must WhatsApp me personally, and I will send those one. It will take, Rabotai, it will take everyone not more than 10 minutes, 15 minutes to say those 10 capital of Tehillim. But just remember, it's called the Tikkun Klali, and that's one of the great secrets that Rabbi Nachman revealed to us. And all the mystical rabbi agree, and there's no one that disputed that the power of those 10 capital of Tehillim, that what it's called Tikkun Klali,
rectifies,
to rectify and collect all of those sparks.
I
hope that I answered your question.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Pleasure. Any other question, Rabotai? If anyone have any other question, I will try and answer if I can. No? Okay, so
just one.
Sure, one more, Bechavod, I'm here, I'm not running.
I'm sure you touched it during the thing. I might have missed it, but obviously it talks about if one wears a four-cornered garment, that's when it's the mitzvah to wear the tzitzis. So why is it
at the spring? Yes.
Yeah. So the question is, it says only if we wear the four-cornered garment then we put tzitzis on. So why do we dafka put on tzitzis? I know you mentioned about it's security and all the segulas and all that kind of stuff, but it seems like
Eitan, when you shoot, first of all, you don't shoot, you send missiles. But I will answer you. I didn't want to touch it. I was frightened to touch it, but I will. Because I see that you people want to know, and I have the obligation to tell what I can. Dafka 4. In Kriyat Shema, you say in the end, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Echad stand for like this. There is one Almighty, that's the Aleph. Nachon? Because you write Echad, Aleph, Het, Daled. Nachon? Aleph, Het, Daled. Echad, Aleph, that's the Almighty. 8, that it's Het, it's Sheva Reki'im, Ve'aretz, in this earth. Daled, Arba Ruchot HaShamayim. North, south, east, west. That means when you wear the garments, you're doing rectification for the 4 sides of the world. Beseder, you're collecting all the spark. Beseder, I'm trying to answer as brief to the point without going in depth. Beseder, Eitan?
No, thank you. the mitzvah is the fact that it's during the day, and I mean you wear it during the night if you have it during the day, but you don't. If one has a shower or whatever, he doesn't put it back on. It becomes evening. So what's the pshat there?
Now I tell you. The mystical rabbi, the Ben Ish Chai bring, and the Ari Kadosh and the Rashash, Rabbi Shalom Sharabi, they all follow the Torah Kabbalah of Ari Kadosh, that they say that you should sleep with the tzitzit at night. There's a special protection. That's what we spoke about wasting. That's to protect.
Let's go. That's really good.
Mystical rabbi, that is, let me explain to you. As a person get more holy and more understand the depths of the Torah, that's when you have to be more extra careful. Why? Let me explain to you why. Because the nature of the evil inclination is to bring down a person to do averot. That we all know. But if the Yetzer Hara have a person that's doing averot already, he said to himself, this one is in my pocket. But when a rabbi, when a person that's doing mitzvot, not necessarily a rabbi is a gurnish, a person that is holy, by the time that he's doing mitzvot, and he keeping purity and holiness, he actually destroying the evil spirit, and the evil spirit tried to take revenge of him. So said the mystical rabbi, night, it's a time of the mezikim, it's a time of the bad spirit, the bad energy. You need extra protection. Wear the tzitzit. Okay? But not everyone follow it. That's only in the depths. You ask, I have to answer you. Beseder, Eitan.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
I hope that I cleared it. If there is any question that you're not sure, just ask. Bechavod.
Well, just the bracha, obviously is during the day.
Yes.
But then if you have it, as I say, if you're having a shower and you put it back, you can't really put it back. Or can you put it back on? Obviously without a bracha at night.
No, you say one bracha a day. You say one bracha. ומוציא ידי חובה כל היום, all day. You say bracha in the morning, נכון? That you say להתעטף בציצית. Correct me if I'm wrong, נכון?
Yeah.
After that, you have in mind that you said the bracha, and that bracha will stay for you all day. Levanta?
But even if there's a hefsek, if one has a shower and a bath and whatever, and he gets ready,
But
he
it's
goes
not
out.
a hefsek. Now, I want to ask you something. You was sitting and studying, or you was sitting and eating, okay? And you needed to go to the toilet to clean yourself. And when you come back, do you have to say bracha again on the food? No. I needed to go to the toilet. It's not a hefsek.
Right.
Why you should say, it's a one bracha. It's mitzvah she'azman gerama.
So if one wakes up in the morning before the sunrise, it's still dark, so he can't say the bracha then. He has to wait until he puts it on, and then he has to wait till later. Then he kind of like takes it off and on again to say the bracha, right?
So the first thing that you do netilat yadayim. The first thing you do modani. You say modani, nachon?
Yeah.
After modani, what you do the next thing, you vas 3 times. What it means vas 3 times? Netila lesirugim. You fill up the jug, the natlan, and you pour. You hold it on your left, you pour on your right. Then you fill up again the jug and you pour on your left. You do it 3 times. Netila lesirugim. That's you do it 3 times, and you say al netilat yadayim. אשר קדישנו במצוותיו ציוונו על נטילת ידיים. בסדר?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, עדיין לא עלה השחר. אין נץ. It's not נץ yet. Okay? You can say Birkot HaShahar. Birkot HaShahar you can say. Okay? But you can't wear tzitzit and tefillin. Why you can't wear tzitzit and tefillin? Only on Netzach Hama. But the small tzitzit you can wear, no problem. If that's what you're asking.
But you don't say the bracha when you're putting it on.
No, the bracha you say only on talit gadol. We explain. And then you say L'Katef Betzitzit, and then you have in mind that the bracha that you say on a talit gadol, it's also for talit katan. Beseder?
Okay, I've always been doing it the other way. I've always been saying talit katan, and then I'm saying talit gadol as well later on.
לא צריך. זה גורם ברכה לבטלה. אז היום למדת, ברוך השם, ברוך השם.
But when you're putting
only a person,
on, the mitzvah when you're putting it on, you got to put it like you. Yeah.
Look at that. Let me explain to you. When you wear tzitzit katan and you want to go to the toilet, do you go with that to the toilet? Yes. You don't take it off your clothes. Nachon?
Yeah.
Talit gadol, that you wrap yourself with that, you don't walk with that into the toilet. אין כבוד, נכון?
נכון, yeah.
אז מה החשיבות? מפה אתה לומד שהחשיבות, that the importance of the talit gadol, it's the main talis, because why? You cover complete yourself from all corner. בסדר?
But is it not because the talit gadol is seen? If you're let's say wearing a talit gadol and you're wearing a jacket, you could go into the bathroom. It's only because it's not
because you cover it. Because
the talit gadol is covered.
Because it's covered, נכון? אבל אין לו כבוד. אבל כשאתה שם את זה בחוץ, אז יש לו כבוד. It shows respect. You can't walk with that. It's not to honor it. בסדר? And that's why you wrap yourself and you're not wearing it. You understand there's a difference between wearing and wrapping. And that's, by the way, what Hazal tell us. On a pshat of the dvarim, when you start davening, you see many people from Baruch Hu suddenly put it over their head. Nachon?
Yeah.
Or you see some people, all the davening, it's over their head. So on a pshat of the dvarim is that you can focus on a davening. Nachon?
Yeah.
But there is more depth to that because it's bring a lot of special spiritual light, and it's you surrounded with that holy light, and that will help you to bond with the Almighty, with the tefillah. בסדר?
שכוח.
ברוך תהיה. Any other question, Rabotai? No? Okay. So in that merit, I would like to wish all of you a great night. Have a good night. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should all meet again on Thursday on Parashat HaShavua. We're going to be in Parashat HaShavua, Parashat Vayetze. Vayetze Yaakov miBe'er Shava. Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll meet on Thursday night. We'll do the Parashat HaShavua. In the meantime, wishing all of you a great night. Those of you that want to know the Tikkun Klani, the 10 capital of the healing, please WhatsApp me personally and I will send it to you. And also I'll explain what to do before. There is one thing that you have to do before. If you can, it will help a lot. So, in the meantime, good night, everyone. Look after yourself. All the best.
Just one more thing before you go, Rav, one more thing. It's Stephen Kabatsnik.
Sure, Stephen. Right. For you, everything, Stephen. Yes.
Why do you wrap the mace in the talus after once that's like the shroud? And what for women? What do they wrap them in? Could you wrap a person the talus once they die?
So first of all, when you wrap it, the talis is pasul. You have to understand that.
I hear that. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
The coffin, if you look, the coffin, there is a talis on it, and the talis is pasul.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah.
Not to embarrass the dead. We spoke about it. That's what I
Yeah,
explained.
I heard that. Yeah, yeah.
כן, משם מבזה לועג לרש. It's called לועג לרש, מבזה למת.
אני מבין,
Which
yeah.
means Rash. The Rash is a poor person. Poor person
Yeah.
considered dead person, like Larash. So the difference is that men need more protection than a woman. I explained that. Why?
Yeah.
Because those need to thought that he wastes. Because you understand the protection.
I hear that. But now that's when the person is alive and when the person died, and don't you wrap it, that man?
So both of them, so they wrapped them with wool. They wrapped them, both of them, with the material that, if you ask the people at the have, they use linen or they use wool. Because those the two things that protect the body, the body of the deceased from the evil energy.
Okay.
You know, the
Thank
bad
you,
energy, the
okay,
evil.
Beseder. Thank you.
Okay, Rabotai. So have a good night. I hope that I didn't scare anyone. I didn't mean to scare anyone. It's just that you ask, and it's my duty to answer. Have a good night. Look after yourself. Hope to see you on Thursday night.
Oh, mate.
Have a good night. Laila Tov, everyone. All the best.
Laila Tov. Shkaya.
Bye, Marky. How's Israel? You didn't tell me, Marky. Unmute yourself.
How bad can it be, Rav? It's
It's
wonderful.
gonna be bad. Eretz Israel.
No, I said, how bad can it be? It's always wonderful.
The best. Avira
Yes.
Eretz Israel Mahkima.
Best. Thanks for the good share, Rav. Appreciate it.
Pleasure. All the
Have a
best.
good week. A very good
All
week.
you.
And
night.
all you guys, have a good
Good
week.
night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Night. Night.
Right off.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.